these days, and why I'm so selective on the shows that I watch, is because there's always intent behind the content, and clearly there's a lot of intention behind a show like Euphoria.
Message.
Good luck.
And in case your ears are fucked, get the fuck out!
What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video. I wanted to give my thoughts on this shit because, you know, it's only right that I give my 2 cents on some shit like this. So basically, I'm talking about Euphoria, the show ironically named Euphoria, but that was probably the absolute last emotion that I felt watching the show. Now, I heard about this show, I've been hearing about this show for probably like what, a few months, probably like really like the last like 4 or 5 months. I've been hearing about the show in passing, mostly on Twitter. You see all the little girls, you know, they're tweeting about the little show and things like that, and I just chalked it up as you know what, it's probably like the television version of a chick flick, so I never paid it any mind, even though I find, you know, Zendaya to be wildly attractive. I just never really cared to, you know, want to watch it. And then recently, I saw like somebody's review of Euphoria, and I was like, you know, well, whatever. You know, that's what I expected, because all I heard, pretty much all he ended up saying was bad things about the show. So I was like, oh, well, you know what? I was right. So basically, I wasn't missing out on anything. And then, you ever have those moments where you're in the mall, and then you walk past the store, and you know you're not going to buy anything, but you just go into the store anyway just to kind of like see what's in there? So that was basically what happened when I was on HBO Max, and I was pretty much looking for some shit to watch. I think I had like just got through watching Happy Feet or some shit. And, you know, I started watching Euphoria. I was like, you know what, let me check this out. And the only reason why I started watching it was because of Algie Smith, who is a young black actor who plays McKay on the show, if I'm pronouncing his name right, but he was an actor from the New Edition story. He was in Judas and the Black Messiah, and he was in The Hate You Give. So basically, you know, I support the stuff that he's in, so I watched it just to see, you know, his episode, because the thumbnail for the episode had his picture, so I figured, oh, this must be the Algie Smith episode. So I was like, let me watch it, because I thought that initially that each episode was basically dedicated to different characters, and then you know, Zendaya would narrate, I guess, the character's story and shit, which is basically the intro to all of these episodes anyway. So I started watching it, and in fact, honestly, that might have been the show, that might have been the episode that I barely enjoyed, because honestly, alright, first of all, one of my issues with Euphoria is the fact that they jump around too much. Like, it's like you never really get to know, and maybe it's just me, because I started watching it at like episode like 5 or 6. But you don't really get to know any of these characters. It's like they jump around from one character to one character, and it's like none of these characters ever really get a chance to develop for the audience, because it's like once you get used to one character and you're like, okay, all right, so let's see what's up with this person, then it jumps to somebody else, and it's like, well, who is this show even really about? And then like, what's the moral of the story? Because to me, this show kind of strikes me as like, you know, a fucked up Saved by the Bell, like a Saved by the Bell, but for drug addicts and fucking sluts and prostitutes and shit like that. Like this show doesn't really like I don't know. It's like after watching maybe about 4 or 5 episodes, like not one episode ended, and I was like, oh, okay, you know what? This is what I got from this episode. Like, I didn't feel like I got anything out of any of these episodes at all. Like, none of the moments I really enjoyed, and then if I did like laugh at some shit, I was laughing at something fucked up and for pretty much the wrong reason. You know, the only moment that I enjoyed and that I rewinded and watched back over and over and over again, and mind you, I don't even know any of these characters' names. I don't know any of these characters' names outside of, you know, Zendaya's character and Algie Smith's character and the guy who and Nate. And Maddie. Okay, so I know a couple of characters, but like the characters in question that I'm talking about right now, I don't even know their names. Basically, McKay's girlfriend is cheating on him with Nate, and then like some random guy, I think like from a party or some guy that goes to their school and shit like that. And basically, she's been leading this dude on for a while. So things finally come to a climax, and then they're in the bathroom and they're messing around. I mean, no, they're in the bedroom in like one of the rooms in the house. And then they're messing around, and dude is pretty much trying to go all the way with her. He's like, yo, so what's up? Now, mind you, he knows she's got a boyfriend, so automatically any real dude is gonna think less of her because you're messing with me, but you got a boyfriend, so you know what I'm saying? And long story short, she doesn't want to put out. She doesn't wanna, you know, have sex with him. And he gets mad.
What? Well, this is literally the second time you've done this to me, so if we're not gonna fuck, then what are we doing?
Are you being serious?
You think I'm here because I'm interested in you? And what you have to say, or what you think about things as if you're so fucking interesting? Fuck, are you dumb? You came on to me, remember? And ever since then, you show up, you lead me on, and then you whine about your fucking boyfriend. Like every time you start talking, I think to myself, who the fuck does this girl think she is? You are so fucking boring.
We've all been in these situations. Let's say I have, you know what I'm saying, where there's a difference between a girl that you actually want to be in a relationship with and an absolute freaking throwaway. A girl that like is just like you might chill with her like 2 or 3 times, but after that third time, you know you don't want to see her again. And basically she's like, oh, are you serious right now? And he's like, yo, like freaking, like, who do you think you are? Like, you getting too big for your bridges. Like, you think I'm gonna keep doing this shit with you over and over and over again? Like, no guy wants to sit there and make out for fucking 2 hours and then like this shit just doesn't fucking go anywhere. So it's like I completely understood what he was talking about, because a lot of girls do that all the time. Some girls, they think that just because, you know, you might hang out with them or you talk on the phone or you text, that means you want them to be your girlfriend or that you really like them. No. That shit is just for the moment. So that was the only moment on that show that I actually like, you know, really enjoyed. And I laughed at, and I was like, all right, this is actually a good moment and a necessary moment. And then maybe some girls would take some shit from this and they'll learn from it. You know what I'm saying? Because not every guy that you know, wants to be with you, if that makes sense. Like, we don't always want a relationship. Sometimes it's just for the moment. And in fact, it was transactional, because he was using her for what he can get from her, and she was using him. She was just using him for like company and attention and some sort of, you know, like companionship and shit like that. Like, because she didn't really like him either. So it's like for her to get upset and then like prance off the way that she did, to me, is fucking ridiculous. And you know, she's a fucking hypocrite for that. But here's another one of my problems with the show. Like, first of all, like, there's no black people on this show, okay? And Algie Smith, he honestly, to me, is like the biggest simp on the show, because your girl is like all out and about, and then for whatever reason, like, he doesn't even know about it. Because at that same party, I think like while that was going on, or she was fucking somebody. I don't know. I don't remember if she was fucking Nate or that guy. But just before he was gonna walk in on them, one of her friends stopped it. Like, because she knew that he was about to find out. And then she was like, oh, she's actually at home, or she's, you know, wherever, or some shit like that. And he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, yo, you're a simp. Like, how the hell do you not know, you know, what's going on with your girl? Like, at least, even if you don't know, you gotta have some sort of like sixth sense that's gonna tell you like, yo, some bullshit is going on with your girl, and I need to watch out, or I need to cut her loose right now because something is going on. And then what's worse is that, so another episode, if not the same one, I don't even remember. So they get home and she, like, they're messing around. So I think this is like after they get home from some sort of party, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So they get back home, you know, they're about to have sex and shit like that. And then right in the middle of it, and it looked like a setup to me, but like I said, I haven't seen all the episodes, so, you know, I don't know. But yeah, like 4 or 5, like, you know, like dudes in masks, they pretty much, you know, bust in, and then they pretty much violate this dude. Like, I don't know if they really did anything to him, or if they just like pinned him down on the floor and like teabag. Like, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but it's just like, so what purpose does the character of McKay really serve the story? Like, how does he move the story along? Like, is he just there to just be a simp and be violated? Like, I don't know. Like it's like 1 + 0 is still 1. It's like he he has no value, no numerical value to the show. He has no value to the show other than just being an absolute simp and being like a character that just like is completely clueless to what's actually going on with this girl. And it's like the people that do find things out are the characters that don't deserve to know anything. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't deserve the truth. You know, like a character like Nate, like it's like he, like I don't know, it's like he just knows certain shit, and it's like why can't McKay, you know, acquire that same sort of, you know, like know-how and knowledge and all the other types of shit. So to me, it's just a situation where, you know, they just wanted to violate a black man on screen by like 5 or 6 white guys, because what ends up happening is he's on the floor like completely distraught. Initially I thought like he was like passed out, and he's got like no pants on, he's butt ass naked, and then he gets up and he goes to the bathroom, and then he's like trying to, I don't know, reclaim himself or regain consciousness or reclaim his manhood. Like I don't know what the hell was going on through his mind, because honestly, from an acting standpoint, like I don't really understand the scene, and I don't get his characters. Like what would I even get out of portraying a character like that just doesn't, that does nothing, you know, whatsoever for the fucking story. And then he gets up, and then I guess in, you know, the last like whatever he has left of being, you know, a man or some shit, he just decides to like fuck her for like 5 seconds, and that was it. And then I was just sitting there like, what just happened? Like I don't get it. Honestly, I was more confused than both of these characters. So it's just one of these things where it's like, well, what's the purpose of it, other than like trying to, you know, have the audience and the people who watch this show just consume all this information for no reason. Like, you know, I don't know, because my thing is with television these days, and why I'm so selective on the shows that I watch, is because there's always intent behind the content, and clearly there's a lot of intention behind a show like Euphoria.
Message.
There's a lot of intention behind it, and it's like I can't support that. Like honestly, like I watched 4 or 5 episodes too many, and I don't know how people can just sit there and like watch this show religiously, because it's like it doesn't make you feel good. It's not an informative show. Like there's nothing about this show at all that I feel like serves society in any fucking way, because we could probably get all of that information about drug addicts from PSAs and shit like that. Like there's plenty of other resources that can give people insight to the life and times of crackheads and drug addicts and prostitutes, sex workers, and all the other types of bullshit. You see what I'm saying? Another fucking problem with this goddamn show is that the dick to vagina ratio is fucking 10 to goddamn 0. I don't understand this goddamn show where it's like you literally see like 10 different dicks and then you never see like not one goddamn vagina at all. It's like, why is it that you always see like dudes butt the fuck naked, but then you never see like a girl just straight up and down naked too? Like, it is what it is, but the shit gotta balance out. So clearly a show like that is not meant for a guy like me to be watching, honestly, because I'm just like, all right, okay, because there was a scene where they're like being held hostage by, I don't know, some like skinhead drug dealer dude, I don't fucking know, and then he's like, oh, everybody strip naked right now, and then like all the guys are just fucking naked, and then Zendaya is still standing there fully clothed, and then like when she apparently does undress, you just don't see anything, and it's just like, yo, come on, man, really? Like this show is really meant for girls. It's not meant for guys. Like this is literally like a depressing motherfucking chick flick that girls on their periods like to watch, like just for whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I truly don't see the purpose of the show at all. Another thing that I don't like about fucking television and film nowadays is that they're really selling the black female and white male relationship now. Like you rarely ever see like black men and women together on screen anymore on a mainstream level, but you always see a black woman and white men together. Because once I saw Zendaya's parents, I was like, oh, well, you know, there goes that. You know, I said, here we go again. Here we go again. It's typical. And I'm like, I'm so tired of seeing that shit. And then honestly, like if you're not black, this topic or this conversation doesn't really apply to you, but it affects me because it's just like I no longer see, you know, the circumstances that I came from depicted on screen anymore. It's like I'm constantly seeing like interracial couples now. And like I said, to me, that's just not conducive to where I came from and where I feel like my people are going or should be headed. So it's like I'm tired of seeing that shit. And then the other thing is too is that this show, again, in my opinion, it sends the wrong message to girls. It's like telling girls like you could just do drugs and do a whole bunch of fucked up shit and there's like no consequences to that at all. Zendaya, and mind you, this is like the first thing that I saw on the show, and it was like Zendaya says,
Took like 10 Vicodin and drank an entire thing of tequila, and then I like blacked out for 3 days. But while I was blacked out, I like still went to school and did
like, oh, I took 10 Vicodin, I took fucking, I snorted 3 cocaine lines, I smoked 10 blunts by myself, and then I popped, 3 Oxycontin pills and 10 Mollies, and I did homework after that. And I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? Like, yo, she's like literally like a dope fiend junkie, and it's not a good look. Like, this show is like not a good look. And I'm like, how the fuck do people watch this shit and feel entertained? Because it's just not entertaining at all. And the thing is, I think that Zendaya is a good actor. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I actually think she's a good actor, but a show like this is just like a waste of talent. And the sole purpose of this show is to push some sort of agenda.
Message!
Because my thing is this. Sam Levinson, who is the director of the show, he directed Malcolm and Marie, which I actually like Malcolm and Marie. I've seen Malcolm and Marie probably like 50 times. So going into this, I figured, it would kind of, measure up to some sort of extent. And it didn't at all, because somebody said that the cinemat, like a friend of mine said that the cinematography was good in certain scenes. Honestly, to me, nothing about this show, the way that it was shot at all, was aesthetically pleasing, period. Like, nothing was like eye-grabbing where I was like, wow, I like this shot. Like, nothing about this show was good at all. At all. So it's just like, this is just, a common chick flick that girls like to subscribe to because they like drama, they like bullshit going on, and they like to pay attention to these sorts of things to make themselves feel better about the shitty things that they do in real life. Like, for instance, the chubby freaking sex worker character, her ass was like sitting there, and then she had like a notebook, and then she was apparently writing down the pros and cons of being with her boyfriend or the guy that she was involved with at the time. And then the pros was he's handsome, he's this, he's that, and then most importantly, she wrote on the bottom, the last thing that she wrote, last but probably least in her mind, was he loves me, right? And then she couldn't think of any cons, and then Zendaya narrates that, 9 times out of 10, when you can't think of any cons to being with somebody, that usually means that you're the problem. And in most relationships between men and women, it don't always be the men that's fucking up. Like, usually it's the girls too. But, accountability is something that's not popular, with women, especially, these days. And so she's about to have sex with this dude. And then I didn't even understand the scene, like, right away. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe I just didn't get it. Or what I took away, like, I didn't understand. So she's about to go at it with this dude. But he goes to the bathroom. And then when he goes in the bathroom, like, his, like, heart explodes or some shit. And then there's, like, a fountain of blood, like, spreading out from his chest. And then he falls backwards. And then I could have sworn this was motherfucking Jason fucking Momoa from goddamn Game of Thrones. That's who I thought it was. And they probably couldn't get Jason Momoa, so they got, like, his stunt double or some shit. And then this dude just, like, pulls up, and he's like, yeah, your boyfriend sucks. Get over here, girl. And then he, like, fucks the shit out of her, giving her back sauce and shit. And then, like, she tells her friend, oh, he ripped my clothes off and then just took advantage. And I'm like, so either two things happened. Either that just happened in her mind, and that was just her fantasy to compensate for, like, I guess a sex life that she just doesn't like or isn't satisfied with. Or that really happened, but she, like, I don't know, like, she was fucking her mans, but then in her head she just pretended, like, she just had it in her mind that it was that Game of Thrones looking dude, just so, I don't know, like, whatever, like, fantasy that she had. I don't know. Like I said, these shows to me, they're not good. Like back in the day, shows used to be like shows used to actually be about some shit. Like you would watch an episode of Saved by the Bell, and then there would be a moral to the story. Older shows and sitcoms and shit back in the day, they used to have morals to the story. Like I'm pretty sure I never used to watch motherfucking Friends or some shit, but I can only imagine the reason why Friends meant some shit to people is because it had like a message that made people feel good. It's like, how the fuck can a struggling addict feel good about watching Euphoria without relapsing they themselves? You see what I'm saying? Like a show like this, like is not good, but you know, this is just television these days. You know, 9 times out of 10, there's always some sort of underlying message that they're trying to convey to people. So if there's not a moral, there's gonna be a message.
Message.
There's going to be a message. And you know, whatever message that they're trying to send me for watching this show, you know, I'm not here to receive it. And you know, I will then stop, or you know, that's pretty much why I stopped watching the shit, you know, at motherfucking 4 or 5 episodes, whatever, because I think I ended at like season 2, episode 2 or some shit. It was like the rumination, whatever the title was, you know, for that fucking episode. It's like, yo, like, people are really just watching anything these fucking days. And I don't know, man, like, you know, television these days gotta fucking get it together. I feel like, you know, Zendaya, I feel like she's wasting her talent on a show like this. You know, I couldn't tell why she's doing it. Maybe because the money is good, but artistically, I don't see, you know, how, you know, this sort of show is fulfilling in any way, like creatively, you know, artistically, cinematically. Because it's like, who wants to watch a show and then like feel bad, you know, for watching the shit? Like, who wants to watch the show and it's like the show took more than it gave me? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just whack. Is there anything else I want to say about this fucking show? But those are my thoughts on motherfucking Euphoria, although unconcise.